The Ringer came out with a new mock draft. They have someone new selected at 32.
I like it. I like it. It's different. Something new to talk about.
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, in this mock draft, the Detroit Lions select at number 32, Desmond Ridder. Now, I'm going to give Jeff the platform first because Jeff did have a problem with it. And I'll get to my reasoning, obviously, after. But Jeff, walk me through, one, your feeling evaluation on Desmond Ridder, and two, why you don't like this pick so much.
You know what, though? My problem with the pick doesn't necessarily have to do with Desmond Ridder as a player. I like Desmond Ridder now. I've said this, and I've been saying this for months now. I don't want the Lions to select a quarterback with that second first-round pick. And if it's going to be Desmond Ridder, no, please not. And my point of it is, there is multiple positions that the Lions need to fill. So we all know that. And quarterback is one of them. But for you to go and take Malik Willis at 32, now that was the same area they took Lamar Jackson back in the day. So you could find quarterbacks, great quarterbacks, still in the first round, and they'll fall to you. But are you absolutely sure, and maybe Brad Holmes is, I know this isn't directly from the Lions, it's just a mock draft, but let's just say hypothetically, will Brad Holmes have that same type of evaluation on Desmond Ridder? I don't think so, and I hope not, because in my opinion, you're taking edge rusher number 2, and we're going to get into it later in the show, and that's the obvious. We've had this discussion. That second first-round pick to me is wide receiver or linebacker. I really don't see, unless there's a better player at a different position, the best player available, then you take him. But to me, to take Desmond Ridder at 32, number one would mean now you have your franchise quarterback, and we talk about how that time starts with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. Whether he sits a year, whatever the case may be, that's your franchise quarterback for the next multiple years, and you're going to have to evaluate him on the field. But my problem was taking Desmond Ridder at that spot. It's hard for me. He's a senior. Listen, he played against inferior competition at Cincinnati. I get all of that. But to go to the NFL and to go to the team like the Lions, who need a whole lot more than a quarterback, I had an issue with it, and specifically Desmond Ridder. I'm assuming it was Desmond Ridder because Sam Howell, Malik Willis, all those guys, Kenny Pickett, of course, went in the top 15, top 20. So obviously it'd be Desmond Ridder last available. In my opinion, you don't take one at all at that point. So that's really the issue I had with it. It was the position, not the player. That's what I had. You got to go somewhere else. Wide receiver, linebacker. I mean, who knows what Desmond Ridder is going to be in the NFL? I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's going to be a bust, but I don't think he's worth 32 overall pick. But that's just me.
I am in the camp that you build your team first because you have Jared Goff. Look, Jared Goff is not the best quarterback in the NFL. He's not 10. He's not top 10. He's not top 12, 15, 18. He's probably 20 to 24, 26. Depends where you want to put him. I don't care.
Right.
The point is, in the NFL, you can win with an average quarterback. You don't believe me? The Tennessee Titans got the number 1 seed in the AFC. Kevin Stefanski won a playoff game last year with Baker Mayfield. Kirk Cousins has gotten to the playoffs. We've seen this story play out. Now, having said that, quarterback doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you guys why, and I'm going to use 2 teams as examples. I hope you hear me out when I say this. You know, Jared Goff was obviously selected number 1 overall by the Rams, right? Well, in those previous 2 drafts, they had drafted Aaron Donald and Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
Oh, do I have to remind you, Patrick Mahomes, when he was drafted, got to sit a whole year. Granted, he got to sit. But by year 2, had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, a run game.
Yeah.
A defense,
Mac Jones,
a full. It was
guy.
A completed team. Mac Jones goes to the New England Patriots. He's got a pretty decent team.
Yeah,
they win a decent amount of games. But was the team ready to win when you walked in? Were the Jaguars ready to win when Trevor Lawrence showed up? Look at their record. They're picking number 1 overall.
Zach Wilson.
Were the Bears ready to win when Justin Fields showed up? No.
Mm-mm.
Were the Jets ready to win? No. And they all have losing records, and you all have questions about their quarterbacks, right?
Right.
Mac Jones walks into a stable situation. I'm not saying a great team, but at least average to above average. They play that way. Good. No one's questioning Mac Jones right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I bring in a quarterback? Do I believe that, not this year, but the upcoming NFL season, 2023, do I believe we have a roster that can compete for the division? If the answer is yes, you take a quarterback this year and you sit him for a year. If the answer is no, or if you believe even if you have the team, you will have the draft capital move up in the draft to get one of the guys next year, then you do that.
Yeah.
I don't see them taking a quarterback. I think it's linebackers. I think it's defensive edge players. I think you're going to end up taking probably a wide receiver. You're going to have to.
Yeah.
You're going to have to. Whether that's with the first round pick, the second round pick, the third round pick, fourth. That's for Brad Holmes to decide. But a quarterback and the first 3 picks, I find it hard to believe. Because I don't think Malik Willis will be there at 32, and I don't think they're taking him at number 2. And I don't think they're going to give up capital to trade up unless they're giving up next year's first-round picks, which I think would be a disaster. So the Lions have tough decisions ahead. They really do.
I'm so glad you brought that up, by the way.
Go ahead.
Not drafting a quarterback till you have a complete team, because that's something that a lot of people seem to forget. You look around the league, you have Trey Lance. Why do we think Trey Lance, number one, he's a great player, but the success he'll have is because of the team he's walking into. The 49ers, they're playoff ready, and now you have a rookie quarterback starting. You talked about, I'm so glad you brought up Patrick Mahomes. You could bring up Jordan Love. Why in the hell, anybody can evaluate Jordan Love, but what makes you have confidence in Jordan Love working out? It's because the Packers, if Aaron Rodgers leaves, he'll be walking into, if they franchise tag Devontae Adams, they'll have a run game. They'll have Devontae Adams. They'll have an O-line. They'll have a serviceable defense. Great head coach. Like, that's the difference between Zach Wilson's season, Trevor Lawrence's season, and a Mac Jones or a future and a Trey Lance, Patrick Mahomes. That's the difference. And that's what we've always been preaching. Why would the Lions address a position they probably need last? I would say the quarterback's important, but you have Jared Goff. That was the whole point of getting Jared Goff in the trade. He can keep you afloat until you find your franchise guy. You don't have to go out and reach for him. Please, you don't have to go and reach for him. You have Jared Goff for another 2 seasons. Try and do it next year.
If you cut Jared Goff before June 1st, next offseason, not this offseason, after next season, you'll take a $10 million cap hit. If you cut him after June 1st, $5 million in dead cap space. Not bad if you ask me. Jared Goff is the starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions in 2022. Get over it. Get over it. And there's no quarterback in this draft outside of maybe Kenny Pickett that can walk in and give you similar production. And I don't see the Lions taking Pickett at number 2. I don't. Now, again, if they think Pickett's the guy, go for it, man. If you think Willis is the guy, go for it. But don't expect me to sit there and defend you in 2 years when it's not working out. Because you were ignorant enough to think, all right, Jared Goff was 3-1 down the stretch. I saw him play really good football. We have a run game. We have an offensive line. Hawkinson will come back healthy. St. Brown emerged into at least a semi-star receiver. He's not a star, obviously. He's not all that yet. But year 1, almost 1,000 yards. Huge, big-time production down the stretch. I like that. Get a wide receiver in the draft. Improve the defense. Give Aaron Glenn more players to work with, and I think you have a decent football team if you ask me. Mm-hmm. And that's coming from the guy that you guys think is Mr. Lions hater. I really think this football team can actually surprise a lot of people next season. Now, if they take a quarterback at 32 or number 2 in the second round, do I think that'll impact their win-loss record or their roster? I don't think it'll kill them, but you've started the clock.
Yeah.
You've started the clock on winning, right? Because I know now, next year, Jared Goff will be the starter. We're going to cut him after June 1st, and we're going to let the second-year quarterback take over in 2023, and we're going for it. That's what you're telling me. That's what you're telling me with these moves.
Yeah. It's like the Packers. They took Jordan Love. I would say Matt LaFleur, if Aaron leaves, he's on the clock. Like, well, I want to see how this works out with Jordan Love.
I think it's so different because they were drafting to replace their quarterback of the future, not...
And they took him... I would say early. Maybe they thought Aaron would be done quicker.
I get it. I do get people being frustrated with Jordan Love and the pick and Aaron Rodgers being upset. Why didn't you get me a player, a Patrick Queen, or somebody like that? Dude, Aaron, shut the hell up. You were the favorite in every game in the playoffs for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
Outside of the Tampa Bay game.
No, you're right. You're right on that.
Dude, you're right. Not you, but like Aaron, shut the hell up, man. You didn't deliver for your football team. You're one of the best quarterbacks, one of the most skilled quarterbacks I've ever seen. Congratulations. You couldn't beat a San Francisco 49er team that only scored 13 points.
Yeah, that wasn't because of Jordan.
Oh, is that your coach's fault that the special teams gave up 7 points? Is that your head coach? All right, blame it on the head coach. Be my guest. That's fine. What the hell were you doing all game? Only throwing to Devontae Adams? Not seeing that Adam Lazard was wide open down the middle for likely a 30 to 40-yard gain in crunch time. But you decided to heave it downfield to Devontae Adams, right, Aaron? That's Matt LaFleur's fault. He should be on the clock, right? Kick rocks, Aaron Rodgers. Kick rocks, dude. You're such a talented quarterback, but no, I'm not having any slander on Matt LaFleur. And you know what? I think he's earned the right not only to bust on Jordan Love, but to draft another one. Dude, 39 wins in 3 seasons in the regular season. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
13 wins a year.
The amount he wins. Yes.
And again, yes, he does have Aaron Rodgers. I'm not naive, guys.
Yeah,
But don't sit there and tell me that he's just some pushover, some scrub. Watch out for Kevin O'Connell. We'll get to him later on in the show. Another Sean McVay disciple. May I remind you, Washington, congratulations, the Commanders. Enjoy Ron Rivera, because Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, and Kyle Shanahan all walked away from your staffing. Good job. Oh, Mike McDaniels was there, wasn't he? If I do recall, he was an assistant to Kyle, or it came off after when he was in Cleveland. One of the two. But regardless of the point, I love that. I really do. I think the Lions have a lot of options. Look, if they take a quarterback, I'm not going to kill them for it. Now, may I agree or disagree with who they took? Sure, that's just my opinion. Jared Goff's the quarterback next year, and I actually think he can win you games next year. And I think with the way you play football and the way Dan Campbell called games last year and how I expect him to call games going into this upcoming season, I'm expecting a Detroit Lions team at least with 8 wins, given their schedule. Last year, they had the 4th hardest schedule based on win totals. This year, it's the 1st or 2nd easiest schedule in the NFL. Do better. Jeff?
No, 100%. I couldn't agree anymore. I think with the Lions this year, if we're going to have a discussion of who they should take with that first pick, you have the 2nd round pick, of course, 2 picks after that last first round pick. We'll see. And we talk about the clock having to start once you take a quarterback. To me, it's the best player available. And to me, I just don't believe at 32 the best player available is going to be Desmond Ridder. And that's my personal opinion. Maybe Brad Holmes falls in love with the quarterback and he takes him. But if we're reading the mock drafts and they're as correct as we think they are, Malik, Sam Howell, they'll be gone. Assuming so. Maybe Sam Howell falls at 32. But even then, I just don't think a quarterback this year, unless you're taking one late, Carson Strong in the later rounds to see what you have, that's not a risk. Taking a quarterback in the first round, to me, is a risk. Because now you're setting yourself up to not only bank on Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell, whoever it is, Malik Willis, to be your franchise quarterback, but you just can't miss. This early in the rebuild, you can't miss on that second first-rounder, man. And we talk about who won the trade. Who won the trade? The Lions or the Rams? And it doesn't really matter at this point, but if you're busting on those second first-round picks, it's going to be an issue. And you can't waste them, essentially. So to me, no Desmond Ridder. If someone falls to the 2nd round or 3rd round, then you take them. I don't have a problem with it, whatever. The first 2 first-round picks, and even the second, in my opinion, all skill position or edge rushers, linebackers, safeties. There's way more positions you have to fill than just looking at the quarterback. So we'll see what Brad Holmes does. But in my opinion, for Brad Holmes' sake, please don't take Desmond Ridder.
Hey, you made it all the way through. I'm so proud of you. Why don't you make me more proud? Like, subscribe, and watch another video.